Good morning, everybody. Here we are with break 268. Another 24 Traders Titanium combo. Includes the Titanium case, Priority Box, and a mini starter case. Alright, there we are. So our team list for today: Broncos, Michael Spann; Raiders, Sean May; Bulldogs, Tony Luxton; Sharks, Dolphins; Titans, Manly, Sean May; Storm, Peter Lowe; Knights, Cowboys, Eels, Sean May; Panthers, Michael Newis; Rabbitohs, David Morton; Dragons, Roosters, Warriors, Sean May; and Tigers, Mario Henriquez. Alright, good luck, everybody. Let's go. Don't forget, as always, if you could hit that like button for us, it's very much appreciated. Just helps promote the channel and any new collectors out there. So still no Webkey legend signatures for us, guys. Still only the 2 legend sigs in total. The one that we've pulled in the break, and we've managed to pull one for the website so far. So hopefully today is the day that we get to find a Webkey. Hopefully today is the day that we also manage to score 2 out of 3. I'm happy with 2 out of 3. I'll be ecstatic. So remembering, we have 3 different types of product. We have the starter packs, the case, and the priority box. And in all 3 we have the opportunity to do legend sig. So let's go. Why does my okay, closing. First up, in the silver, number 125, Jerome Hughes. So remember, we have a, oh, not remembering, we have at least one newbie. Michael Newis has been quite eager for the break. Copper number 85 for the Cowboys, Jason Tormalolo. If you do miss any part of the break, obviously you can watch the replay. When watching the replay, you can always speed it up. Good morning, Alex. Welcome. Number 45 in the gold, Jerome Hughes. In the gold, number 78, Racine McGregor for the Dragons. Pardon? Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. In the copper, number 19, David Fafita for the Titans. I don't know what other people think, but I think the starter pack was okay. Some of them, yes. I won't disagree with that. In the silver, number 26, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. In the gold, number 41, Adam Fanua-Blake for the Warriors. In the copper, number 172, Luke Keary for the Roosters. In the copper, number 60, Brendan McCura for the Broncos. In the silver, number 63, Lachlan Elias for the Rabbitohs. It's Wednesday, guys. Don't forget to get your tips in. We have the free tipping comp, $50 for each round. Top tipper. Back again. Number 73, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. So, we've got the March giveaway. Terry Lamb, Legends case card. In the copper, number 130, Elsie Albert for Eels. In the silver, number 26, Shanae Kira for the Titans. In the gold, number 61, David Fafita. But as to your question, I think the golds especially, they look pretty good. And as everyone that's watched a few of the breaks, Jerome Hughes, the gold and purple, it's got me hooked. I think that's sick. Saratoga Tuki in the copper, number 177. In the copper, number 142, Georgia Hale for the Knights. If I know a few people that do watch are having troubles logging into their account, so they can't comment. We have that set up like that to stop the spam and everything. With a lot of the spam being of the nature it is, we don't want that in our comment sections with families watching. Holly Dodd, number 118 in the copper. In the silver, number 4, Gail Broughton for the Broncos. Different club champions. I'm assuming the club heroes. In the gold, number 80, April for the Gold Stars. last starter pack. We've got a copper, number 198, Aden Fanua Blake. Alright, let's go. So remember, these packets are retail packets. Rising Stars, Ruby Ellis for the Eels. Aden Fanua Blake parallel for the Warriors. Hannah Southwell, Women's NRL for the Knights. Hammer Fido, parallel for the Dolphins. Well, yeah, you can. We've got them listed on the website now too, Alex. You can have a look. Corbin Baxter, World in League for the Roosters. Dragons parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember for the Titans. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Joseph Tapane, parallel for the Raiders. Fair enough. I was surprised, to be honest, that you hadn't found him. So, Sorted Shield Aaron Grant for the Storm. David Clemmer, parallel for the Tigers. We listed a whole heap of sets, insert sets, club, normal club hero set, full set. What are they? 54 cards, I believe, off the top of my head. Rising Star set, season to remember. World in League. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. Oh, even a full parallel set. Season to remember, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Sharks parallel checklist. Season to remember, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Mawaki Fotuaika parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Chad Townsend parallel for the Cowboys. Oh, that's the other one, the showcase characters. We put sets of them up too. Thanks, Alex. Parallel Jacob Carraz for the Bulldogs. Just excuse me 2 seconds, will I? Oh no, all good. Just a truck turning around. I thought it might have been a skip bin arriving. Panthers are on fire so far. Reece Robson, Sword and Shield for Cowboys. William Martin, parallel for Panthers. Yeah, no luck with starter packs. Well, with the World and League parallels. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. As I was saying at the beginning, Michael, we do have 3 different products, so hopefully in the case or the priority box, that is where Panthers will shine for you. I was actually thinking about you, as in we've had a lot of first time breakers do really well. Sword and Shield, Tedesco, Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Jocelyn Keller, Women's NRL for the Roosters. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys. Sean Johnson, Club Heroes for the Warriors. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Yeah, I think the only way we have them listed at the moment is in the combos. I think it's an album, box, and 2 or 3 starter packs off the top of my head. Dylan Lucas, Rising Stars for the Knights. Big Tino, parallel for the Titans. Well, hopefully one day I want to hit a web key and a Terry Lamb in one of the breaks. Season to remember, Scott Drinkwater. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. We know a few of our customers have been lucky and opened some Legends SIGs. Not sure if any have been any web key. We're not sure what some of them are. But yeah. World in League, Molly Olika R2 for Manly. Harry Grant, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. That's it. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. 2 out of 3, that's all I ask. 2 out of 3. World in League, Losana Lutu for the Tigers. Harry Grant, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Yeah, well, I've been saying it for a while. I need help to will it. The more people that will it, the more likely it will come true. That's what I'm led to believe anyway. Emma Manzelman, Club Hero for the Cowboys. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. Showcase Bunty Afoa for the Warriors. Reece Walsh parallel for the Broncos. Women's NRL, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Nick Meaney parallel for the Storm. Nathan Cleary parallel for Panthers. Women's NRL, Pauline Razabel for the Tigers. Dally Cherry Evans parallel for Manly. And I know at least one customer has pulled a Legend signature out of a starter pack. So they are in there, guys. Mitchell Moses, World in League for the Eels. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Also, will you be listing any more singles on the website? Yes, as far as the retail club heroes, so the coloured variations, I don't believe we have any more. Rising Stars, Will Warbrick for Storm. Josh Adokar, parallel for the Bulldogs. I'm not sure what we have left in the way of hobby starter packs. But as for normal cases, yes, we will be busting and listing more singles. Jessica Surgis, Women's NRL for the Roosters. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. We've actually been experiencing some issues with PayPal again on the website. So most of my time for the last couple of days has been investigating that and trying to. Season to remember, Nico Hines for the Sharks, Hudson Young parallel for the Raiders. Which is sort of a bad time to have issues. We haven't had issues for quite a while, so it's a bit frustrating. Rising Stars, Xavier Willison for the Broncos. Storm parallel checklist. Lindsay Collins parallel for the Roosters. With the orders, if you can, guys, if you want to pay with PayPal, if you're a regular customer and you want to pay with PayPal, maybe select bank transfer if you're having issues and then manually do it. Dolphins parallel checklist, that's just a suggestion if you're having issues. If you're not having issues, don't worry. Find some of these the retail packs are a bit harder to open than the hobbies. Raymond Vega, Rising Stars for Manly. Dane Gagai parallel for Knights. Oh, yeah. We'll be opening and busting more for them. I don't know what we have sitting there. That's the thing, we're constantly busting. Batil Vet Welsh, season to remember for the Tigers. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for Cowboys. No, all good. Yeah, singles. I wasn't sure exactly what you were after. So, yeah. Robert Derby, Rising Stars for Cowboys. Alex Johnston parallel for the Rabbitohs. In the process of just finishing up or tidying up the rest of the base cards from the case we opened yesterday, putting them into albums, and then we'll be busting a new one. Jaden Campbell parallel for the Titans. Ewan Aiken Welding League for the Dolphins. Jesse Bromwich parallel for the Dolphins. Dean Madison Rising Stars for Manly. Phoenix Crossland parallel for the Knights. Parallel Katoni Stags for the Broncos. Parallel Broncos Checklist. Rising Stars Tom Jenkins for Panthers. Oh, Jermaine Isako parallel for the Dolphins. Showcase Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. Damien Cook parallel for the Rabbitohs. Base cards build up so much from the starters. Season to remember, Bradman Best for the Knights. Corey Horsburgh parallel for the Raiders. Will Warbrick Club Heroes for the Storm. Brighton Nakora parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars Terrell May for the Roosters. John Bateman parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Broncos. Warriors parallel checklist. If you actually go through some of the recent years, we've sold out. David Fafita, Welding League for the Titans. Checklist parallel for the Rabbitohs. And that's not necessarily because we sold them all. What year was it? 22, I think it was, where my girls played footy. Every game we were giving away a case of cards to the other team. Then we had a big gala day and we gave away a heap of unsorted. So yeah, we try and give a lot back to clubs. For instance, guys, the 218 milestone set. Some of you will know what I'm talking about. TLA and us donated one to one of the local clubs up here, and they auctioned it off and got over $7,000 for it. So Congratulations, Jada Taylor, rising stars for the Sharks. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. A lot of the base cards we sell as album and base sets, as well as team sets. Sean Johnson, season to remember for the Warriors. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys. Like when we're breaking for the website, most of the cards get sorted into sets and go into albums. Elsie Albert, World in League for the Eels. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. And to be honest, if you actually work it out, buying all your lower end inserts and everything like that, if you go and look at what we've got our sets and put that together, it works out quite cheap. Rising Stars, Alfiana for the Titans. Adam Fanua-Blake, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for the Storm. Hamafito, parallel for the Dolphins. Yeah, we alone sell a crazy amount of albums. I'm just, yeah, I can't get over how many albums and base sets we sell. At release time, it's one of our biggest sellers. Renee Target, retirements for the Dragons. Sorry, I was busy talking, swept up. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. 2 packets left. Rising Stars, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Big Tino, parallel for the Titans. Showcase, Dylan Edwards for Panthers. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Alright. Alright, Michael, come on, fingers crossed. This is where I start saying Panthers. Let's go. Today's case card. Sorry, Michael, not yet, mate. Alright. We have number 20, David Clemmer for the Tigers. I think doing that is a good way to start a release, as in you might not hit your cards. Oh, well, that's good then. That's good. We didn't need that one. But yeah, I think buying one of them in the start gives you trade. Yeah. You might not hit what you're looking for. The only issue with that is the amount of base cards that you end up with. But if you're close to a local footy club, let me tell you, the juniors love them. Most of them don't know about footy cards, so just the overwhelming amount of them. Alright, box number 1. Cool. Nice. Alright, 2 more chances, guys. If you know, you know. Rising Stars, Jesse Colquhoun for the Sharks. Junior Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. 2 from 3, that's all I want. I'll be happy. Season to remember, Selwyn Cobbo for the Broncos. Tolto Koala, parallel for Manly. Like Laurie Showcase for the Dragons. Brian To'o, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Brendan Hands for the Eels. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Jessica Surges, Women's NRL for the Roosters. Raiders, parallel checklist. Shante, World in League for the Titans. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. Ali, Rising Stars for the Warriors. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Gold parallel, Tolto Koala for Manly. Number 4. Let me kick out, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. Kieran Foran, parallel for Titans. Club Heroes, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Cowboys, parallel checklist. Sword and Shield, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Ewan Aiken for the Dolphins. Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Georgia Hale, Women's NRL for the Titans. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Thomas Cant for the Knights. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. World in League, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Renato Molitalo, parallel for the Sharks. World in League, Maya Hill Moana, parallel for the Roosters. John Bateman, parallel for the Tigers. Gold Stars, Premiership Predictor, number 93. And Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Women's NRL Gold, parallel Cassie Hiku for the Eels, number 30. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Star, Shante for the Titans. And Molly Olaka-Atu, parallel for Manly. Club Heroes, Jermaine Isako for the Dolphins. Panthers, parallel checklist. Nathan Cleary, season to remember for the Panthers. Luke Keary, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Jordan Ravana, parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield team for the Tigers. Will Warbrick, parallel for the Storm. World in League, Vitalana for the Gold Stars. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for the Storm. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Matthew Feagai for the Dragons. Reid Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. Sword and Shield, James Tedesco for the Roosters. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Zach Labour for the Cowboys. Jason Tomalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. 6 last packet for our first box. Women's NRL, Zahara Tamara for the Raiders. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. We have one spot left in break 267, as well as the Tigers Raz. Reuben Cotter, showcase for the Cowboys. Katoni Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Sandon Smith for the Roosters. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. World in League, Dallin Latine Zalesniak for the Warriors. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. Reuben Garrick, season to remember for Manly. What spot is what? What do I do? Checklist Warriors. Oh, I'm not sure. Raiders or Titans maybe? Sorry. That was just one of those things that I was randomly thinking of and blurted out. Blake Wilson, Rising Stars for the Bulldogs, Brighton Nakora, parallel for the Sharks. Alright, box number 1 done and dusted. Let's get into box number 2. Rising Stars, Raymond Vega for Manly. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Storm, parallel checklist. Showcase, Nat Butcher for the Roosters. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Atessa Poole for the Roosters. Regan Campbell Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Women's NRL, Kennedy Sharrington for the Eels. Josh Addo-Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. World in League, Abigail Roach for the Knights. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Alefiana Khan-Piera for the Titans. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Gold parallel, Isaiah Yeo for the Panthers, number 15. There we go, first numbered hit for the Panthers, Michael. To start, Reece Welsh, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Junior Tupou for the Tigers. Dolphins, Parallel Checklist. Club Heroes, Tane for the Warriors. Dane Gagai, Parallel for the Knights. Sword and Shield, Clint Gutherson for the Eels. Tohu Harris, Parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars for Lance to wear for the Dolphins. Cameron McInnes, Parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Stefano Utakamanu, Parallel for the Tigers. Women's NRL, Georgia Roach for the Knights. Ben Jabojevic, Parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Andy Robinson for the Sharks. Jerome Luai, Parallel for Panthers. World in League, Braden Hemlin Yulee for the Sharks. Jared Herrera Hargraves, Parallel for the Roosters. Taryn Aiken, Women's NRL Gold, number 181 for the Roosters. Sebastian Chris, Parallel for the Raiders. Retirement, Renee Target for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Arthur Stephen for the Eels. Xavier Coates, Parallel for the Storm. Club Heroes, Dream Bula for the Tigers. Jack Bird, Parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Micah Sivo, Parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Peter Holler for the Raiders. Max King, Parallel for the Bulldogs. Broncos Running Machines, Mariah Denman, number 31. Christian Welsh, Parallel for the Storm. Sword and Shield for the Panthers. Titans Parallel Checklist. World in League, Hamoli Olika R2 for Manly. Murray Talagi, Parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars for the Dragons. Cody Walker, Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Bradman Best for the Knights. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. Sword and Shield, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Lance to wear, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Kayla Romniak for the Knights. Greg Marshew, parallel for the Knights. Leanne Tafuga, Women's NRL for the Tigers. Taman Martin, parallel for the Warriors. Showcase Sean Lane for the Eels. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. Dream Buller, parallel for the Tigers. Golden League, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Manly, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Broncos. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Victor Radley, parallel for the Roosters. Last packet for box number 2. World in League, parallel Sanua Taruva for Panthers. Mr. Big Papa for the Raiders, parallel. Alright, box number 3, let's go. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Hamoli Olaka'atu, parallel for Manly. Nathan Cleary, season to remember for Panthers. Panthers parallel checklist. Tyson Frizzell, showcase for the Knights. Luke Keary, parallel with the Roosters. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Jordan Rapana, parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Elsie Albert for the Eels. Will Warbrick, parallel for the Storm. Tyson Frizzell, World in League for the Knights. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Matthew Feagai for the Dragons. Reid Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. Gold parallel, Jacob Saifiti for the Knights, number 40. I swear it's not my eyes. Gold on gold. AJ Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Tom Jenkins, Rising Stars for Panthers. Jason Tormalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. Club Heroes, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Sword and Shield, Nat Butcher for the Roosters. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Tom Weaver for the Titans. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. Women's NRL, Hannah Southwell for the Knights. Warriors, parallel checklist. Destiny Brill, Rising Stars for the Broncos. Brighton Nakora, parallel for the Sharks. Anessa Biddle, Welding League for the Sharks. John Bateman, parallel for the Tigers. Jocelyn Keller, Women's NRL for the Roosters, number 104. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Retirements, James Tarmo for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys. Liam Martin, parallel for Panthers. Club Heroes, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Sua Wong for the Roosters. Harry Grant, parallel for Storm. Sword and Shield team for the Sharks. We always think they're numbered. Zach Lomax parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Josh Alloy for Manly. Jermaine Hopgood parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for Rabbitohs. Toby Sexton parallel for the Bulldogs. Kira Dibb, season to remember for the Cowboys. Big Tino parallel for the Titans. Sorry guys, just having a drink. Get your tips in guys, don't forget. Sword and Shield Dream Buller for the Tigers. I am reminding myself every time I say it as well guys, because I still haven't done it. Scott Drinkwater parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Carl for the Bulldogs. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Pauline Roosevelt for the Tigers. Patrick Carrigan parallel for the Broncos. Showcase Ruben Cotter for the Cowboys. Hannah Fido parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. Jackson Hastings parallel for the Knights. World in League, Shannon Muru for the Eels. Adam Fanua Blake parallel for the Warriors. Hudson Young, season to remember for the Raiders. Sharks parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. David Clemmer parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Ruben Garrick parallel for Manly. Initials, number 174, Scott Sorensen for the Panthers. SS. Holden lovers would love that. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. So remembering I am Mount Druitt raised. and moved up to the Goldie, as well as living up here when I was younger a few times. But yeah, I grew up around Mount Druitt and Penrith, that sort of area when I was younger. So I can comment that Panther supporters out west would absolutely love that card, I think. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Wade Egan parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Mia Wood for the Roosters. Jesse Ramian parallel for the Sharks. Showcase a group card. Apasai Coruscant parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Soliola for the Raiders. Lachlan Croker parallel for Manly. Women's NRL, Jessie Southwell for the Knights. Isaac Tago parallel for the Panthers. World in League, Serena for the Sharks. Roosters parallel checklist. Retirements, Josh Hodgson for the Eels, which I know Jared Rees loves. I think this is Jared Rees' favourite card this release. Just asking. Nico Hines, parallel for the Sharks. He reckons he's dying to get that one signed. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. Jamal Foti, parallel for the Raiders. Season 2 member, Matt Burton for the Bulldogs. Jerome Hughes, parallel for the Storm. Gold parallel, Luke Keary for the Roosters, number 27. Jack DeBellin, parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Braden Hamlin Yulee, parallel for the Sharks. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Club Heroes for the Cowboys. Matt Burton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Sword and Shield, Reece Walsh for the Broncos. David Fafita, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Reece Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Kieran Foran for the Titans. Jai Arrow. I just heard about him this morning. Poor guy. Didn't realise. Not looking good. Hopefully 4-week recovery. But if he needs surgery, it could be season. Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Women's NRL, Batil Vet Welsh for the Tigers. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Alfiana Khan Kiera for the Titans. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. World in League, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Women's NRL, Gold, parallel, Tara West for the Dragons, number 155. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Brendan Pekura for the Broncos. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Jacob Carraz, World League for the Bulldogs. Ezra Mam, parallel for the Broncos. Dominic Young, season to remember for the Knights. Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Tegan Berry, Club Heroes for the Dragons. Tigers, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Mahalia Murphy for the Eels. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Tiana Smith for the Cowboys. Dylan Edwards, parallel for the Panthers. Sword and Shield team for the Manly. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, Adam Dewey for the Tigers. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Gordon Tong for Manly. Did someone say my name? No. Cameron Munster, parallel for the Storm. Who would do that? I was just mentioning how Hodgson was your favourite card this release and you can't wait to get it signed. Season to remember for the Warriors. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Big Tino for the Titans. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. So what you're telling me is I should start every break off with good morning, Jared. Rising Stars for the Roosters. And we'll just periodically mention it throughout the break. Bulldogs, parallel checklist. Holly Wheeler, women's NRL for the Sharks. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Showcase Felice Kafusi for the Dolphins. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Alright, box number 4, done and dusted. Let's go. I don't know, I think you might be trying to forget the green machine days, mate. You look pretty comfortable in an Eels jersey. Rising Stars, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Matt Burton, parallel for the Bulldogs. The hit from the last box. Josh Hodgson retirement. There you go. And was the initials last box or the box before? I'm pretty sure that was last box as well. Reid Marnie, showcase for the Bulldogs. Dave Fafita, parallel for the Titans. I got a shocking memory, Michael, especially when we're talking, I get lost. Rising Stars, Talon De Silva for the Tigers. Reese Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Women's NRL, Shanae Siasolka for the Broncos. Jai Arrow, parallel for the Rabbitohs. World in League for the Raiders. Kurt Capewell, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. Tom Gilbert, parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Ben Trbojevic for Manly. Kalen Ponga, parallel for Knights. And gold parallel checklist for the Titans, number 3. What initials? It was the Panthers. Jackson Ford, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Rumour Greg for the Eels. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Club Heroes, Mr. Gutho for the Eels. Tigers, parallel checklist. Lachlan Ilias, World League for the Rabbitohs. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Women's NRL Gold Parallel, Samima Torfa, number 139 for the Raiders. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Ryan Couchman for the Dragons. Bulldogs, parallel checklist. Club Hero, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Tom Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Ryan Rivet for the Knights. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Xavier Willison for the Broncos. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Sifa Talakai, World League for the Sharks. Raiders, parallel checklist. Looks weird, you reckon? Tyrell Sloan, parallel for, no, sorry. Weird, as soon as I seen it, I thought it was a Holden SS. Episode Coruscant, season to remember for the Tigers. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Will Warbrick for Storm. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Brendan Wakeham for the Tigers, parallel. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Running Machines, Greg Marshew for the Knights, number 107. Palami Kickout, parallel for the Bulldogs. Sword and Shield for the Roosters. Ezra Mam, parallel for the Broncos. Georgia Roach, World in League for the Knights. Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Star, Sanua Taruba for Panthers. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Raiders. Chance Nicole Clockstad, parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield for the Dolphins, Jermaine Isako. Nico Hines, parallel for Sharks. Rising Stars, Sienna for the Titans. Junior Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. Women's NRL, Tamika Upton for the Knights. Tolatoa Koala, parallel for Manly. Showcase, Jaden Campbell for the Titans. Brian Tyre, parallel for Panthers. Sword and Shield, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. 4 packets left for the box. Rising Stars, Tane for the Warriors. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Xavier Coates for Storm. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. Women's NRL, Abby Church for the Eels. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. And last packet for the box. Retirement, Brad Takarangi for the Eels. Rising Stars, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Cam Munster, parallel for the Storm. Box number 6, halfway through the case. Starting to warm up here. Alright. Rising Stars, Raymond Vega for Manly. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Women's NRL, Keezy Apps for the Tigers. Isaiah Qatar, parallel for the Dolphins. World in League, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Atessa Poole for the Roosters. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Warriors. Jackson Paulo, season to remember for the Roosters. Ronaldo Mulatalo, parallel for the Sharks. Gold parallel, Nick Meaney for Storm, number 42. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers, excuse me. Rising Stars, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Hamali Olakau'atu, parallel for Manly. Club Heroes, Jareem Buller for the Tigers. Panthers, parallel checklist. Sword and Shield, Harry Grant for the Storm. Luke Keary, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Junior Tupou for the Tigers. Jordan Rapana. Yep, no, that's right. That's not who I was thinking. Thank God for that. Season to remember, Jaden Ockenbaugh for the Bulldogs. Will Warbrick, parallel for Storm. Women's NRL, Emma Tony Gato for the Sharks. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Valence Taware for the Dolphins. Bryce Cartwright, parallel for the Eels. Right in league, Sarah Togatugi for the Tigers. Reed Marnie, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Ivania Polite Gold, number 193. Alexander Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Andy Robinson for the Sharks. Jason Taumalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Kayla Romniak for the Knights. Harry Grant, parallel for Storm. World in League, Isaac Liu for the Titans. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Showcase, looks very similar, but World in League, Felice Kafusi, parallel for the Dolphins. Big Tino, parallel for Titans. Ooh, close. Right next door, Michael. Black Sig, number 34. Abby Church for the Eels. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys. Club Heroes, Tiana Penatani for the Sharks. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Jamie Chapman for the Titans. Katoni Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Arthur Stephen for the Eels. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for the Dolphins. Sword and Shield team for the Titans. Phoenix Crossland, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Valami kick out for the Bulldogs. Warriors parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Peter Holler for the Raiders. Brighton Nakora, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. John Bateman, parallel for the Tigers. Sword and Shield, Reese Robson for the Cowboys. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Alexis for the Dragons. Liam Martin, parallel for Panthers. Women's NRL, Jocelyn Keller for the Roosters. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Showcase, David Clemmer for the Tigers. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Luke Metcalf for the Warriors. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Robert Derby for the Cowboys. Kieran Foran, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Emma Tony Gatto for the Sharks. Cowboys parallel checklist. Showcase, Bunty Afoa for the Warriors. And Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Alright. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Oh, I've got a Coke going at the moment. It's almost finished, but yeah, it'll be right. If you're putting that aircon on, that's... Are you doing the opposite, are you, opening up? Alright, all good. Season to remember, Bootil, a wet, vet Welsh for Joey. Joseph Tarpanay, parallel for the Raiders. Showcase Nat Butcher for the Roosters. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Dragons, parallel checklist. Women's NRL, Taylor Preston for the Sharks. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Welding League, Ewan Aiken for the Dolphins. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Soliola for the Raiders. Mawaki Fotoaka, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Dylan Latine Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Sifa Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Women's NRL, Taryn Aiken for the Roosters. Sean Bloor, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Lasana Lutu, World in League for the Tigers. James Fisher Harris, parallel for Panthers. Women's NRL Gold, parallel Julia Robinson for the Broncos, number 41. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Alefiana Khan Piera for the Titans. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Isaiah Katoa, Club Heroes for the Dolphins. Storm, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Blake Wilson for the Bulldogs. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for Dragons. And our white Number 91. Josh Schuster for Manly. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Brendan Pekura for the Broncos. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield for the Rabbitohs. Addo-Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Hopawate for the Roosters. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. World League, Corbin Baxter for the Roosters. Stefano Utikamanu, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Ben Jabljevic, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Ebony Pryor for the Tigers. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. World in League, Abigail Roach for the Knights. Jared Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, David Fafita for the Titans. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Tiana Smith for the Cowboys. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Luciana Khan Piera for the Titans. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Sword and Shield, Jermaine Hopgood for the Eels. Reece Welsh, parallel for Broncos. Rising Stars, Gordon Tong for Manly. Dolphins parallel checklist. Shaylee Bent, Women's NRL for the Titans. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Showcase Sean Lane for the Eels. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Nico Hines, season to remember for the Sharks. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. The gold parallel number 36 for the Sharks, CSF Atalakai. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. 3 packets left for box number 8. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. Broncos, Parallel Checklist. Club Heroes, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Jermaine Isako, Parallel for the Dolphins. And lucky last. Sword and Shield, Nico Hines for the Sharks. Jacob Saifiti, Parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Eels, Parallel Checklist. World in League, Semi Valemi for the Cowboys. Murray Talagi, Parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Brendan Hand for the Eels. Cody Walker, Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Bradman Best for the Knights. Selwyn Cobbo, Parallel for the Broncos. Gold Parallel, Damien Cook for the Rabbitohs, number 31. Valance to wear, Parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Ali for the Warriors. Greg Marshue, Parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Shannon Mato for the Titans. Tamir Martin, Parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield, Ruben Garrick for Manly. Blake Brayley, Parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Ethan Strange for the Raiders. Dream Buller, Parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Broncos. Manly, Parallel Checklist. Women's NRL, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Isaiah Yeo, Parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Toby Couchman for the Dragons. Victor Radley, Parallel for the Roosters. World in League, Meli Hafunga for the Broncos. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. Gold parallel, Mackenzie Wheel for the Gold Stars, number 195. Christian Welsh parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Thomas Cant for the Knights. Blake Laurie parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Tyrone Peachy for the Panthers. Roosters parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Sandon Smith for the Roosters. Jamal Fogarty parallel for the Raiders. World in League, Isaac Liu parallel for the Titans. Jerome Hughes parallel for the Storm. Premiership Predictor for the men's, number 105, Broncos. Jack DeBellin parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Isaiah Tass for the Rabbitohs. Jacob Preston parallel for the Bulldogs. Shante Rising Stars for the Titans. Alfiana Khan Piera parallel for the Titans. Sword and Shield Bulldogs. Ruben Cotter parallel for the Cowboys. World in League, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Cameron Murray parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Jada Ferguson for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds parallel for the Broncos. Retirements, Andrew McCulloch for the Dragons. Dolphins, Valance to wear, season to remember, and Jeremy Marshall King, a parallel for the Dolphins. Sword and Shield, Addo Carr for the Bulldogs. Knights, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Jack Howarth for Storm. Wade Egan, parallel for the Warriors. Women's NRL, Jasmine Peters for the Cowboys. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Showcase Campbell Graham for the Rabbitohs. Apasai Coruscant parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars Zach Labour for the Cowboys. Lachlan Croker parallel for Manly. World in League Jerome Hughes for Storm. Isaac Tago parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars, Mason Teague for the Dolphins. Xavier Coates parallel for the Storm. 4 packets left for the box. Season to remember, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Jack Bird parallel for Dragons. Showcase Reece Walsh for the Broncos. Marcus Sivo parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars Jesse Calhoun for the Sharks. Max King parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Titans parallel checklist. Another box done and dusted. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Jesse Southwell, season to remember for the Knights. Patrick Carrigan parallel for the Broncos. Showcase Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. Hammer Fido parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars Jonah Pezzett. Jackson Hastings parallel for the Knights. Women's NRL Ivania Polite for the Titans. Aden Fanua Blake parallel for the Warriors. World in League Maya Hill Moana for the Roosters. Sharks parallel checklist. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. David Clemmer parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Meli Hafunga for the Broncos. Ruben Garrick parallel for Manly. Gold parallel, Selwyn Cobbo for the Broncos, number 22. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Dean Madison for Manly. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Club Heroes, Ata Marotta for the Raiders. Joseph Tapane, parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Retirements, Josh Reynolds for the Bulldogs. Reece Welsh, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Terrell May for the Roosters. Dragons, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Lachlan Ilias for the Rabbitohs. Brian Madison, parallel for the Eels. Women's NRL, Simon Matofa for the Raiders. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. World in League, Holly Dodd for the Raiders, parallel. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. Mawaki Fotuaika, parallel for the Titans. World in League, Jason Tormalolo for the Cowboys. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Women's NRL, Keezy Apps, gold parallel, number 203 for the Tigers. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Broncos, parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Dean Madison for Manly. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Season to remember, Felice Kafusi for the Dolphins. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Dylan Latin Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Sword and Shield for the Cowboys. See the Talakai. Wish that thing would stop moving. World in League, Brendan Pakura for the Broncos. Sean Ballor, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. World in League, Tyler Wong for the Dragons. Addo Carr, parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember, Tegan Berry for the Dragons. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Trey Mooney for the Raiders. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. Sword and Shield, Sean Johnson for the Warriors. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Ruby Ellis for the Eels. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Women's NRL, Tara West for the Dragons. Storm, parallel checklist. Last packet for the box. Showcase, Dylan Edwards. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for Dragons. Box number 10. Got 3 boxes to go, including the priority. Oh, including this one, that's 4. No, we've pulled the black and the white. The black went to Abby Church in the Eels and white in Manly. Showcase, Jerome Hughes for Storm. Corey Horsburgh, parallel for the Raiders. And obviously, fingers crossed that we might hit a Legends as well. So, Rising Stars, Thomas Hazelton for the Sharks. Harry Grant, parallel for Storm. Women's NRL, Tyler Wong for the Dragons. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. World in League, Tony Staggs for the Broncos. Jermaine Hopgood, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Wiremu Grigg for the Eels. Toby Sexton, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Tane Tapuki for the Warriors. Rabbitohs, parallel checklist. Club Heroes, Alafiana Khan Kiera for Titans. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Sword and Shield, Isaiah Papali'i for the Tigers. Hamafido, parallel for the Dolphins. Hey, NRL Men's, here we go, number 37 for the Panthers. There we go, Michael. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders. Adam Fanua Blake, parallel for the Warriors. Emma Manzelman for the Cowboys. Sharks, parallel checklist. World in League, Jason Taumalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars, Ryan Couchman for the Dragons. David Clemmer, parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Racine McGregor for the Dragons. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. Women's NRL, Hannah Southwell, number 116, gold parallel. For the Knights, Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Daniel Tupou, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Talon De Silva for the Tigers. Liam Martin, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Robert Derby for the Cowboys. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Ryan Rivet for the Knights. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Club Heroes, Abby Church for the Eels. Joseph Tarpanay, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Batil Vet Welsh for the Tigers. Nick Meaney, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Sanua Taruva for Panthers. Dragons, parallel checklist. World in League, Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders. Sifa Talakai, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Sean Bloor, parallel for Tigers. Sword and Shield for the Dragons. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. World in League, Sanua Taruva for Panthers. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Sienna for the Titans. Milwaukee Fodawaika, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Nico Hines for the Sharks. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. Sword and Shield, Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Xavier Willison for the Broncos. Broncos, parallel checklist. Women's NRL, Destiny Brill for the Broncos. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Showcase, Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Will Warbrick for Storm. Dylan Latine Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Kira Dibb for the Cowboys. Big Tino, parallel for the Titans. And up to the last packet for the box. Gold parallel, Jermaine Isako for Dolphins, number 9. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys to finish off the box. Rising Stars, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Dolphins, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Daly Cherry Evans for Manly. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Knights. Showcase Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Jesse Southwell for the Knights. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Sharks. Women's NRL, Mackenzie Wheel for the Cowboys. Stefano Utakamanu, parallel for the Tigers. World in League, Justin Olam for the Storm. Ben Javovic, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Tom Jenkins for Panthers. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for Storm. Jared Rera Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. Gold parallel, Jermaine Hopgood for the Eels, number 26. Sebastian Chris, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Tom Weaver for the Titans. Xavier Coates, parallel for the Storm. Club Heroes, Lindsay Collins for the Roosters. Jack Bird, parallel for the Dragons. Sword and Shield, Corey Horsburgh for the Raiders. Marcus Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Destiny Abril for the Broncos. Max King, parallel for the Bulldogs. Scott Drinkwater, season to remember for the Cowboys. Titans parallel checklist. Julia Robinson, women's NRL for the Broncos. Murray Talagi, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Francesca Goldthorpe for the Cowboys. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. World in League, Joseph Tarpanay for the Raiders. Selwyn Cobbo, parallel for the Broncos. And gold parallel, Emma Tony Gatto for the Sharks, number 144. Parallel, Valance to wear for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Sua Long for the Roosters. Greg Marshue, parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Mariah Denman for the Broncos. Tamir Martin parallel for the Warriors. Season to remember, Mackenzie Wiki for the Raiders. Blake Brayley parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Dream Abula parallel for the Tigers. Sword and Shield Knights team. Manly parallel checklist. World in League, Alex Johnston for the Rabbitohs. Isaiah Yeo parallel for Panthers. Yes, White Sigmas for Manly. Carl Rising Stars for the Bulldogs. Victor Radley parallel for the Roosters. Season 2 member Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Big Papa parallel for the Raiders. Sword and Shield Tyson Frizzell for the Knights. Christian Welsh parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. Blake Laurie parallel for the Dragons. Women's NRL, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Eels parallel checklist. Showcase Tolator Koala for Manly. Jacob Preston parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. Alafiana Khan Piera parallel for Titans. World in League, Jacob Saifiti for the Knights. Ruben Cotter parallel for the Cowboys. Season 2 member Cameron McInnes for the Sharks. Cam Murray parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Adam Reynolds parallel for the Broncos. 2 packets left for box number 11 out of the case. Dallin Watine Zalesniak parallel for the Warriors. Jeremy Marshall King parallel for the Dolphins. And our second initials, number 119, Mr. Schuster for Manly. So Manly getting the white and a second initials. Knights parallel checklist. Alright, this is our last chance at the double legends, guys. Here we go, box number 12, last box of the case. Rising Stars, Keanu Kinney for the Titans. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Mahalia Murphy for the Eels. Tigers, parallel checklist. Blake Laurie, showcase for the Dragons. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Blake Moser for the Broncos. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. Women's NRL, Racine McGregor for the Dragons. James Tedesco, parallel for the Roosters. World in League, Gale Broughton for the Broncos. Matthew Tomoko, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Jonah Pezzett for the Storm. Cam Munster, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Dylan Zalesniak for the Warriors. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Dragons. Gold parallel, Stefano Utikamanu for the Tigers. Number 45. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars for the Cowboys. Bulldogs parallel checklist. Emma Manzelman, Club Heroes for the Cowboys. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Running Machines, number 111 for the Eels. Clint Gufferson, Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Sword and Shield, David Fafita for the Titans. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Dean Madison for Manly. Tavita Tyler, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Season to remember, Dominic Young for the Knights. Ezra Mam, parallel for Broncos. Kira Dibb, Women's NRL for the Cowboys. Felice Kafusi parallel for the Dolphins. Rising Stars, Terrell May for the Roosters. Daniel Saifiti parallel for the Knights. World in League, Jaden Sewer for the Dragons. Chance Nico Clockstead parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Ronald Volkman for the Warriors. Sean Johnson parallel for the Warriors. World in League, Josh Alawai for Manly parallel. Ronaldo Mulatalo parallel for the Sharks. Gold parallel, Tamika Upton for the Knights, number 145. No, this is the second last box of the break. We still have the priority box left to go. Nico Hines, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Benjamin Lovett for the Rabbitohs. Junior Tupou, parallel for the Tigers. Club Heroes, Will Warbrick for the Storm. Tolator Koala, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Selwyn Cobbo for the Broncos. Brian To'o, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Jacob Preston for the Bulldogs. Brendan Smith, parallel for the Roosters. Sword and Shield team for the Warriors. Raiders parallel checklist. Jerome Luai, World in League for the Panthers. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Ewan Aiken for the Dolphins. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Dream Buller for the Tigers. Tyrell Sloan, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Tyrone Munro for the Rabbitohs. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Sword and Shield, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Valami Kickout, parallel for the Bulldogs. Fifth last packet for the case. Rising Stars, Jada Taylor for the Sharks. Kieran Foran, parallel for the Titans. Women's NRL, Haley Maddock for the Broncos. Cowboys, parallel checklist. Showcase, Jerome Hughes for Storm. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Ruby Ellis for the Eels. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. And lucky last packet for the case. Let's go. What have we got? World in League, Holly Dodd for the Raiders. And Isaiah Katoa, parallel for the Dolphins. Alright, put these away. And let's get into the most important one, the priority. The big one. Alright, let's go, let's go. Rising Stars, Sua Wong for the Roosters. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Ryan Pappenhausen for Storm. Hammer Fido, parallel for the Dolphins. Showcase, Blake Laurie for the Dragons. Jackson Hastings, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Josh Alloway for Manly. David Clemmer, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Carl for the Bulldogs. Ruben Garrick, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Kira Dibb for the Cowboys. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Batil Vet Welsh for the Tigers. Darren Watine Zalesniak, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Mona Lisa Solioka for the Raiders. Sia Sifatalakai, parallel for the Sharks. Sword and Shield, parallel, number 14 for the Sharks. Sean Bloor, parallel for the Tigers. Gold parallel, Sebastian Chris for the Raiders, number 38. Ooh, that was lucky. I almost cut myself. I just slid my finger across the blade. Joey Manu, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Eliza Salata for the Tigers. Joseph Tarpanay, parallel for the Raiders. Excuse me. Club Hero Priority, Alafiana Khan Piera for the Titans. Number 26. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Storm. Sword and Shield, Tohu Harris for the Warriors. Dragons parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Isaiah Katoa for the Dolphins. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Hudson Young for the Raiders. Jacob Carraz, parallel for the Bulldogs. Women's NRL, Sophie Hollyman for the Raiders. Milwaukee Fodawaka, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Anessa Biddle for the Sharks. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Cowboys. World in League, Shannon Muru for the Eels. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. NRLW Gold, Madison Bartlett for the Raiders, number 48. Broncos Parallel Checklist. Rising Stars, Cassie Hiku for the Eels. Jermaine Isako, parallel for the Dolphins. Club Hero Priority, number 29. Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Jacob Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. World in League, Ewan Aiken for the Dolphins. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Connor for the Dragons. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Nico Hines for the Sharks. Lindsay Collins, parallel for the Roosters. Sword and Shield, Matthew Tomoko for the Raiders. Hudson Young, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Dylan Lucas for the Knights. Storm, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Alafiana Khan Piera for the Titans. Alex Johnston, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Women's NRL, Ella Costa for the Dragons. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Showcase, Ruben Cotter for the Cowboys. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Tallis Duncan for the Rabbitohs. Hayden Fanua-Blake, parallel for the Warriors. Women's NRL, Emily Bass for the Titans. Sharks, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Lindsay Smith for Panthers. Josh Adokar, parallel for Bulldogs. World in League, Lasana Lutu for the Tigers. Jaden Campbell, parallel for the Titans. 3 packets left for the break. Season to remember, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Jeremiah Nanai, parallel for the Cowboys. World in League, Priority number 4. Justin Olam for the Storm. Reece Walsh, parallel for the Broncos. And last packet. Running Machines, number 75. And James Tedesco for the Roosters. And a Dolphins parallel checklist to finish it all off. Alright, before you go, let's flick over. We have the 2 randomizations to do. 1 for the group card and 2 for the bonus $100. Alright, there we go. Everyone is in and ready to go. So this is for the group card. Showcase group card number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3. Tony Luxton with the Bulldogs. And let's refresh. Look at that, everyone's already saved. I forgot to do it. So number 1, number 2, and lucky last for the $100 gift card. Peter Lowe with the Storm. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone for being a part of it. Don't forget to check out the Tigers Raz for break 267, as well as a couple of break spot. 1 left in that one. And we also have break 269 and break 270 listed on the website. That's it. That's all. Hope you had a ball. Thank you for joining us.